When we think about troubleshooting computers, we usually focus on hardware, software, or configuration problems, but sometimes the real issue isn't the computer itself, it's the environment around it. Environmental conditions can have a major impact on how computer systems operate. Factors like temperature, humidity, dust, and even power quality can affect performance, cause hardware failures, or shorten the lifespan of equipment. If the CompTIA A+ is a topic you're interested in, then you're in the right place. I'm James and I'll be leading you through this journey. Remember, subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Now in this video, we're going to look at the environmental factors that IT technicians need to be aware of when installing, maintaining, or troubleshooting computer systems. These topics are part of the objectives for the CompTIA A+, and they're also important not just for the exam, but also in the real world IT environment. We'll discuss things like how to explain environmental factors, understand the power protection, and the material safety data sheets. Now, understanding these factors help technicians prevent problems before they occur and maintain stable, reliable systems. Now, when it comes to computers and other electronics, environmental impact can mean a lot of things. When you're using or disposing of electronics, it can mean health or ecological damage caused by toxic materials. In the operational environment, it's usually more the opposite, referring to how computer operations are affected by their surroundings. Important environmental factors include temperature and humidity, airborne contaminants and air quality, dust and debris, electrical power, and hazardous chemicals in or around electronics. Now, all of these environmental effects can affect equipment function and human health. So you should keep best practices and company policies in mind in your workplace. It's also essential that your operational environment and your maintenance and disposal procedures comply with all local and federal government regulations. If there's any doubt, be sure to consult appropriate authorities for guidelines. The right environment is important for the health of electronic equipment at a given location. Three aspects of the environment that are important are temperature, humidity, and proper ventilation. Temperature. Now, electronics generate a lot of heat and they don't do well in high temperature environments. Most equipment is designed for office temperatures between 65 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Dedicated server rooms can generate additional heat that must be dissipated through a well-ventilized HVAC system. Humidity. Now, humidity above 50 to 60% can cause condensation, which can destroy electronic equipment. On the other hand, low humidity breeds static electricity, which can fry dedicated computer components. Ventilation. Now, good airflow, not just in and office, but around specific components, can prevent overheating of both the component and the surrounding environment. Good ventilation can reduce humidity to proper levels. Delicate electronic components prefer a steady supply of electricity. When the electric supply exceeds or falls out of normal range, you can experience not just data loss when equipment fail, but also permanent equipment damage. Now, look out for these three power supply problems. First, the power surge. Now, power surge is an increase in voltage that can last several seconds and damage equipment. Short, intense power surges may also be called a power spike. A brownout. Now, a brownout is a drop in voltage that may cause electronic devices to fail or behave unpredictably. Now, typically, brownout means a voltage drop lasting minutes or hours, while a short-term voltage drop is called a sag or a dip. Power companies sometimes use intentional brownouts during emergencies to reduce the load on the electrical grid. Lastly, a blackout. Now, a blackout is a complete interruption of the power supply, lasting any duration. Electrical devices without an alternative source of power will fail. Now, to protect against problems with the power supply, consider these tools. Now, first, a UPS on the right is bulkier than a simple surge protector. Surge protectors or suppressors prevent power surges or spikes from reaching sensitive equipment. A surge suppressor can be a single strip designed to protect a few devices. You can also purchase a whole house or building suppressors, which an electrician install on the main power supply line of the building. Now, an uninterruptible power supply or UPS is a battery backup that instantly takes over during blackouts or brownouts. Now, depending on the battery capacity, a UPS might just give you time to save your data and shut down gracefully, or it might allow you to work through a moderately short blackout. A UPS can protect a single computer or a whole facility, and most include surge protection. Electrical generators can provide protection against long-term power outages. Since generators take time to turn on, they often used along with short-term battery backups. Not every power strip is a surge protector, and surge protection degrades over time. Make sure you purchase a surge protector with a guaranteed rating. And if you can't test it regularly, replace it according to industry recommendations. Universal power supplies or UPS devices provide temporary backup power to your computer and other devices. They provide enough power to allow you time to save any work and then complete a graceful shutdown of your operating system during a power outage. Often they come with monitoring software to report when power has been lost or a surge has occurred. They also protect your equipment from power surges. Use the following steps to install a UPS. Step 1. Plug the cords of the computer, display, and any externally powered devices into the UPS. Now, there are usually two sides. One side continues to provide power temporarily so that you can complete a graceful system shutdown. The other side provides basic surge protection. Step 2. Plug your network cable into the UPS and then run another network cable from the UPS to your computer's network port. Under step 3, you run a USB cable from the UPS to the USB port of your computer. Step 4, plug the UPS into the wall outlet. 5, power on the UPS device and boot your computer. Lastly, step 6, install any control or monitoring software that came with your UPS. Now, air quality can impact not just the operation of electronic equipment, but it can also impact the people who work in the same environment. To protect equipment and humans from airborne particles, consider the following tools. An enclosures with good ventilation can filter air, remove debris, and return fresh air to a confined space. Air filters and masks can help prevent exposure to airborne particles for both humans and equipment. Compressed air and mechanical blowers are a convenient and effective way to clean accumulated debris from around or inside equipment, such as a computer case. The drawback is that just blowing air around will spread dust and debris and might even send it into sensitive electronics. Consider a vacuum meant specifically for electronic instead. When you do use compressed air, make sure to use breathing filters and clean up the dust afterwards. Material safety data sheets, previously referred to as safety data sheets, include safety and health information about chemical products. Now, this includes health risks, storage and disposal recommendations, and procedures for containing a leak or a spillage. Now, in the United States, the OSHA requires that a product manufacturer create and provide these sheets to any or for any chemical product that has the potential to impact or harm people in the environment. Now, each MSDS is in the same user-friendly 16-section format. OSHA also requires that every employer train the employees in the use of MSDSs and make these sheets readily available and accessible. OSHA can come in to inspect your workplace and audit your MSDS. MSDS's management system and employee training processes. By law, an MSDS has to be available to all employees all the time. Do not keep your MSDS sheets locked up or inaccessible. MSDSs have 16 sections. Now these 16 sections may be brief for some materials, and section 12 to 13 may be omitted entirely. The 16 sections include identification, hazard identification, composition of information and ingredients, first aid measures, firefighting measures, accidental release measures, handling and storage, exposure controls and personal protections, physical and chemical properties, stability and reactivity, toxicological information, ecological information, disposal considerations, transport information, regulatory information, and lastly, other information, which includes when the SDS was last prepared or revised. Now, MSDS on other documentation and labels may include pictograms to warn of specific hazards. If you see one, you should definitely read it closely to see which or what risks it represents. Common GSH hazards identification pictograms include explosives, flammable, oxidizing, gases under pressure, acute toxicity, health hazards, environmental hazards, chronic health hazards, and corrosive. And that brings us to the end of our discussion on environmental factors. Now, as an IT technician, it's important to remember that the environment where computer systems operate can have a significant impact on their performance, reliability, and lifespan. Things like temperature, dust, humidity, and power considerations may seem small, but over time they lead to hardware failure or system instability. Understanding how to recognize and manage these environmental factors is an important skill for anyone preparing for the CompTIA A+, and it's also something you'll encounter regularly in real-world IT environments. Take some time to review the concepts we covered in this video and think about how these factors might affect different types of workspaces, from offices to classrooms to data centers. In the next lesson, we'll continue building on these foundational concepts as we move further into the A+ objectives. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing so that you don't miss the rest of the lessons in our complete A+ course. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.